Hey, good afternoon. David here at SJR Models Midwest. Welcome back to the workbench. I hope you're having a great weekend. After a real busy week on Friday, I was able to get back down to the workbench, do some cleanup, reorganizing, and then start back to work on the kit after having a little bit of a stall in building it. Friday about 2.5, 3 hours, Saturday about the same, and Sunday, today, about the same. So I wanted to kind of show you the progress I had. As you saw from my thumbnail, I've got the chassis mocked up and the tires are on there. I have since taken them off, but as you can see, they fit really nice and neat. If you do paint the hubs, go on ahead and kind of remount the center just a little bit with your number 11 X-Acto knife so it fits in a little bit decently before you glue everything together. The body I painted as opposed to polishing out the molded in black. I got 3 coats of Tamiya TS29 semi-gloss black, and then a couple of coats of TS13 clear. I'll put the decals on top of that, but I will not clear over the decals. But I just want to have a little bit of a shine underneath. The model itself is coming together nicely. Over the past 3 days, I've managed to do the remainder of the paint, detailing, the interior mocked up, the seat. I am going to use some contingency decals from the spare sheet to kind of cut them and put them on the seat fronts and everything like that, kind of like what you see from the in-car cameras when they're racing, just a little bit more detail inside. The dashboard I got from Jay's Stock Cars. I'll put the instrument panel there after I put the decal on it. The kit itself, like I said, it's coming together really well. Clay Kemp and his build, he did just a chassis so far about a month ago in his video. Go check that out. He used 080 rod for these 2 top bars because of the slight bend. I left mine in place because, of course, I'm going to just put the dashboard there. If I can get it on my fingers. And like I said, I'm just going to kind of set that up. But again, comes together nicely. I followed what Clay Kemp did on his video this time for this build. I started with the firewall. I did a little bit of sanding and cutting at the very bottom so it could fit closer to the gray chassis rails. And then I put the back on and the 2 front parts on and test fit that to the chassis. The slight warp that I had on the pan went away once the parts were in place. And especially when you have everything together and you finally glue it in to the pan, it went away. So I no longer have any chassis flex. The engine, I've got that in there. I still going to try and find a couple decals so that I can put on the valve covers. And then, of course, as you can see here, I do have the suspension in place. Make sure you're looking at the gray sprues because there are arrows pointing in the direction that the part should go. And that definitely helps because when I built the first kit of these, I goofed and put them in the wrong way. But I was able to correct them. It just took a little bit extra time. The rear end I've got the same way. As you can see, I still have yet to put the shocks in place as well as the axle shafts, but everything's lining up just fine so far. Again, if you take your time, this kit will build up very nicely. I did try something that Tim did with his on the article that he did in Model Cars magazine about fake carbon fiber. So I went on ahead and I was looking around to see what I had for mesh, and I found something a little scrubby. These little things you can get like at Dollar Tree, General, or Walmart, 99 cents. Went on ahead and got that, and you can cut part of it off. And while that mesh looks quite wide, okay, you can fold it over any number of times that you want and then tape it around the part to paint. Now in this one, he did false carbon fiber on the engine intake pieces as well as the package tray in the back, if you will, and the air intake. It also would need to be done on the inner fenders. So I still have some work to do on those. I'm going to kind of playing around with it because the initial shots, I don't have the lines that he had on his, but it just takes practice. First time I've ever done fake carbon fiber, but it's an excellent article. If you have the magazine, it's Model Cars issue number 214. That would have been, I'm thinking like April or May of this year, but definitely check that out. So basically that's what I've got so far. Do a little bit more work tonight. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I should have some more built on it and hopefully be back on track from stalled projects to having more of this built. Speaking of stalled projects, I've got one I'll show you. There was a YouTuber that had talked about stalled projects and wanted to see what we had. So I'm going to share mine with you. But before I do that, I've got a couple shop cards. Let me get those out for you. First one that came in was from Adam over at South Dakota Model Cars. Not only did I get a cool card, I got a decal, so that's definitely going to go right there on my plate. So, cool card, check him out. Looks like he's also on Instagram, Facebook, obviously YouTube. So I'll put his link in the description. Check him out. Thanks for the comments on the back. Much appreciated there, Adam. Next one I got from Bob over at Zippi. Right there. Now, every time I saw this one in other people's videos, I had to have it. Why? It's the Ford pickup. Sorry, I had to get some lemonade there. One of my favorites of all time is the Foose FD100, but I just love this particular truck anyway. So anytime I see someone building it or having built it or used a shop card, I want to snag it so I can have that up on my wall of fame, or at least get some ideas, because I've got a couple of these kits, both of the old original series as well as the Foose series, and I just like the shape. It's just a really cool truck. So again, thanks Zippi. Certainly appreciate the comments on the back. Definitely support his channel. I'll have his link in the back as well. Now, having said that, I'm going to take you over to another table and show you a stalled project that I am going to be working on, hopefully by wintertime. Okay, this is my stalled project, and as you can tell, this is why it became a stalled project. Give you a little backstory. My wife, when she and I had first got married, she was working for a guy that owned two Corvettes. He had like a 59 and a 67. The 67 Corvette was really sweet. Daytona yellow, manual, rally rims, 427. It was nice. And my wife had a couple of my models sitting on her desk at work. He saw them and he said, "Do you think you could build a model of one of my Corvettes?" And she said, "I'll ask him." I said, "Sure." So that Christmas, when he and his lovely wife were throwing a Christmas party for the entire company and their spouses and what have you, he showed me the cars and took pictures, looked it over, and I said, "Yeah, I can build them. I've got a couple of kits. I can do that." The kit that I had was the Monogram 112 scale 3-in-1 67 Corvette Coupe, the 427, and it had everything that Ed's Corvette had. So I said, "I'll build it for you." He offered to pay me, and I said, "No, don't even worry about that. I like doing this for people." So I went on ahead and looked at the kit, looked at his car, and figured there was nothing else that I needed, but I was going to have some fun with this one. So I went on ahead, I took pictures of the undercarriage and paint markings and everything. I mean, this thing was nice, very well preserved. He didn't do anything to it other than buy it, clean it, and drive it. So I went on ahead and detailed it just like what his car was, right down to paint markings on the firewall and on the chassis. It took me about 4 months, but I got it done. And when I gave it to him, he was like beyond impressed, and I thought it was so cool. I wish I'd have taken pictures of him. I may have taken one. I have not been able to find it since, but I was happy that he liked it. Meantime, I had a second 112 scale Monogram kit. I thought, you know what, I'm going to build it for myself. This is that kit. I started to paint it, and I thought, well, you know what, I like his Daytona yellow, but I wanted to try a different color. And I went to paint or sorry, not to paint, but to strip the paint off of the car, because this thing is molded in red. And I noticed that when I had painted his car and I had painted my car, his yellow turned out really nice. My yellow, there was some bleed through. Well, I hadn't primed it well enough, and you know, that happens. I took time with his. I put a couple coats of primer on it, sanded it, and then I did the Daytona yellow on mine. I think I did just one light coat, and that was that. But yeah, it had some bleed through. So I went to strip it. I can't tell you what I tried to use to strip it, but it looks like it went through a fire. And it's very coarse, very rough. And to top that off, when I was trying to take the car apart so I could do the body, I inadvertently broke the rear window. And between that and this, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna put it in the back burner for a while. And that was that. I mean, gosh, look at that dashboard. And that's something. So I went on ahead and put it in the box and set it off in the corner of my hobby room. And then it got boxed up when we moved into our second home. And then I was taking it out so I could look at it right about the same time that I saw a couple of scenes on YouTube from the movie King of the Mountain, which starred Dennis Hopper as this like way out there race car guy who raced a Corvette along the hills of Mulholland, and Harry Hamlin, who drove a Porsche 56 Speedster replica. And well, you know, of course, Dennis Hopper meets an untimely end in it, racing the car, as does the Corvette. But I started looking at the Corvette and I said, well, you know what? I'd like to rebuild the Corvette, but how do I do it? I think this body is beyond fixing. But I mean, look at this. I have all the parts still from my second kit. I mean, I even have extra tires, and you know, there was another hood. I don't know, I think this was the one that I had from the racing version that I painted. And as you can see, the bleed through on that is obvious. So obviously I spaced it off and I didn't paint it right. Didn't prep it right. So I thought I'm gonna have to start anew. But I also wanted to get the decals because I thought I'd build it up like the racer. So I found one guy on eBay that sold just the decal sheet. And I got that right there. Strip rat, flames. There you go. I mean, all original, including the stinger stripes. So I got that pretty inexpensively. I think like $5 for the decal sheet, if I remember. And then I tried looking for another body. I couldn't find one until this one. And oh man, this is just, guys, this is horrible. But that's how much I paid for it. $3. I think their dog ate the box. But here's what I got for $3. A lot of bubble wrap, which is very therapeutic when you're looking at a kit that's been all but destroyed and you're like, oh, bubble wrap. But I started to look at the kit, and there it is. I'm gonna pull this stuff out of the way. It had plenty of parts too, so got that. But I will say, a good clean hood, so I'll be fine. Anyhow, that's their kit. $3 bought me this. And of course, it's not in the greatest condition either. And this is another reason why this went to my stalled project file. There's a crack along the top. I can fix that. There's a crack in the windshield. I don't think I can fix that, but my original kit windshield is still good. So I'll just clean that, sand it, polish it. I've done that before and saved them. But that rear glass, perfect. I don't even want to touch it right now. I'm afraid I'll break it. But this is my stalled project. and this is the one I'm going to probably start working on sometime this winter. I've seen this YouTuber named Hot Rod Hoarder. I was wondering if maybe I should build a former drag racer that's found in a barn and kind of do that. So I don't know. I've got the creative gears starting to move around a bit. I don't know. I would like to do it up stock as much as possible. I like the rally rims, but that chassis on my original kit is good, so I like those turbine rims. I might just stick with that. I don't know, what do you guys suggest? This is it. I mean, I've got everything from 2 kits to make the 1 kit work and then have some parts left over. But, I don't know. This is my stalled project, guys. And, you know what? It's kind of a cool deal to pull it out and show to everybody what I had for a stalled project. So, I'm kind of curious to see what you have for yours. Anybody that has a YouTube channel of their own, why don't you share us your stalled project, and if you plan on working on it anytime soon, or if it's just going to be a stalled project for a while because you've got other things on the bench that are doing pretty well. But still, it's always good to kind of look at these things. One, see how far I've come in my building capabilities. And this one was, like I said, it was a kit that was built over 20 years ago. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that this winter. But give me some ideas. Should I go with a drag racer? Should I try and mimic the car that was in King of the Mountain? I believe the King of the Mountain Corvette was a '64 Corvette, which the new Streaker Vet kit that's come out, or I should say the re-release of the Streaker Vet kit, I was actually hoping to do that as the King of the Mountain Vet, and then just do this one as the kit that I wanted to build 20 plus years ago. So give me your thoughts. With that, I'm done for the day. I'm gonna go upstairs and get dinner cooked for everybody. But have a great rest of the weekend. We'll catch you on the next video. See ya.